Danish soldiers in Greenland would shoot first and ask questions later if the US invaded. Why are we talking about it now? Well, US rhetoric about Greenland has heated up. President Trump has called Greenland a national security priority, and that prompted Denmark's defense ministry to confirm to reporters, yes, Danish soldiers would resist. No hesitation, no exceptions, even if the invading force came from a NATO ally like the US. This isn't some new policy. It's actually from 1952, a Cold War-era military directive. Back then, Denmark was worried about the Soviets moving into the Arctic. The rule told Danish troops in Greenland to immediately take up arms against any invading force without waiting for orders. Fast forward to today, and it turns out that rule is still in effect. Here's the context. Denmark has about 7,000 deployable troops, though only a small number are stationed in Greenland at any given time. The US does have a presence there at Pituffik Space Base, formerly Thule Air Base, but under the 1951 Defense Agreement. That means roughly 150 American personnel operate there for missile warning and space surveillance, but Denmark still controls the territory. The US doesn't own Greenland. It doesn't get to expand bases at will. So does this mean war? Right now, the rhetoric seems aimed at pressuring Denmark into a deal, not prepping an invasion. Officials in Washington have said military action is always an option, but buying Greenland peacefully is still the preferred path.
Well, that's something that's currently being actively discussed by the president and his national security team. And I would point out that the acquisition of Greenland by the United States is not a new idea. This is something that presidents dating back to the 1800s have said is advantageous for America's national security.
But here's why it matters. Greenland is part of Denmark, a NATO member. If the US tried to take it by force, NATO Article 5 would kick in, and suddenly allies would have to choose sides. That's why 7 European countries, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, and UK, came out together saying Greenland belongs to its people, we stand with Denmark. The US doesn't have a historical claim either. Greenland has been under Danish control for centuries, got home rule in 1979, and full autonomy in domestic affairs since 2009. Past attempts by the US, from Truman's 1946 purchase offer to Trump's 2019 proposal, have all been rejected. And this comes right after the US operation in Venezuela, where American forces captured Maduro and seized millions of barrels of oil. That's why analysts are paying attention, because using military force to secure resources could destabilize alliances, fracture NATO, and invite opportunistic moves from Russia and China. It's not WW3 tomorrow, but it's a tension you definitely want to watch. So here's the bottom line. Denmark is sending a clear message. Greenland is theirs to defend. Any attempt to take it by force will be met with armed resistance. And in the Arctic, in 2026, that's a line you don't want to cross.
Subscribe to One India and never miss an update. Download the One India app now.